And the last part of our trip is very special because we are here in Oregon and we are completing a circle which started way back in 2003, just after Prue Blythe had died. Her family asked me what I would like of hers, and I said I would like her Sweet Adeline pin, which was very precious to me. And a few months later I went to see a group of Americans come through Lower Hutt, and on the stage was this woman here. I didn't know who she was or anything about her, but she just was mesmerizing, the way her showmanship on the stage. So afterwards I went up to her and I talked to her, and as we continued to talk I thought, hey, she needs to be a New Zealand Sweet Adeline. She's qualified. So I took off this badge without telling her at all anything about it, and I pinned it on her and made her an honorary New Zealand Sweet Adeline. And then she went away to America, and I emailed her later and told her the significance of the badge. And her name is Carol Barton.
And what was it like for you, Carol?
Oh, New Zealand was incredible, and it was kind of that's the story of like star-crossed lovers across our eyes met, and it was very strange, but it was kind of like that. And then we talked, and we had a mere 10 minutes with each other. And after we exchanged she gave me the pin, we decided we were going to be pen pals over the internet, and we exchanged email addresses, and after that I kind of went on my way and did the rest of my tour. And about a month after I got home, I got a letter from Kathy when she explained the significance of the pin.
And what was that?
And that was that it was connected with Prue, and that it had a lot of sentimental value because Prue was so special to me. And Carol picked up on that, and she wore it the next year when they competed,
along with my dad's 25-year Spebska pin, because now they're both my guardian angels when I'm on stage.
Yeah. Okay, that's 2004. 2005, I go to Detroit to sing with the Kansas City Chorus, and I'm sitting there in the auditorium, and this American voice, Carol was not there, this American voice is looking for Kathy Callaghan, and enter
Ashby.
Ashby. Now, what message did you have?
Well, Carol had given me Prue's pin and a note. And I hadn't read the note beforehand. It was a good thing I didn't, because I probably would have been bawling before that. But I stood there and I read the note to Kathy. And before I can even get halfway through, Kathy's crying, and then I'm crying, and people around her are tearing up because it was such a special, heartfelt note. Yeah. And it was certainly a pleasure for me to make this special delivery.
Yeah, I did not know what was coming at the end of the note, and at the very end she said, it's time for you to soar now, and you take Prue's pin and wear it with you on stage. Well, that was it. I was completely gone. I had still not met Carol other than for 10 minutes, and so I wore it on stage, which was very, very special.
Now I'm gone.
Yes.
And then we get to the next year, 2006. Ross and I are in a little hotel in Wanganui, New Zealand, and there's these Americans having breakfast, and they had this funny accent, so we went over and chatted to them and found out they came from Oregon, and not only that, Portland, Oregon.
And who's this?
And Oregon was a place that you had never been. They've traveled so much in the United States and yet had never been to Oregon.
Yeah.
So we started talking about Oregon and music, and Kathy mentioned she sang in a Sweet Adeline group, and I said, well, isn't that interesting? We've got a great Sweet Adeline group in Portland. And Kathy said, the pride of Portland, and I was so surprised that she knew it because I didn't quite understand that she actually flew to the U.S. and performed with the U.S. choruses. So we started talking a little bit more about it, and I mentioned that there was a gal in my office that sang with the Pride of Portland, and she would be absolutely delighted to hear this story. What a small world. Ashby would be so surprised to hear about it. And Kathy said, Ashby! I know Ashby! And so she told us the story of the pin. and we got to be fast friends over breakfast and a fire drill where we had to stand outside for quite a while. And Kathy invited us to have dinner with them in Wellington, and we decided that we would love to see her again and joined her, and then asked them if they'd like to come back and see us in Oregon when they managed to come back to the States again. And sure enough, they did.
Here we
Yeah.
are.
So 2007, we meet up with Sandy and with George again, and with Sarah and Rick, their friends that we'd met. And we had this time together the last few days up in the mountains. I had still not met Carol. And here we are. I went off and competed with Kansas City 2007 and interstage left Ashby.
Well, before that, didn't you have somebody get
Oh
the
yes, and
back up?
2006.
Yep.
Yeah. Carol is competing with Pride of Portland. and
In
and I
Vegas.
thought, yeah, she needed to have Prue's pin back. So I gave Prue's pin to my dear friend Joan, who was in the quartet with Prue and I, and got it to Carol. And that had Ashby connection as well, because Joan couldn't find Carol, but she happened to bump into Ashby.
And the amazing thing was, with 10,000 people in
In the
that
bathroom
place,
too.
we were in the sitting in the same entrance. Joan was up the steps and I was down the steps, and we were in the same, and did not realize that we were that close together.
Yeah. So Carol had the badge again for 2000.
Then now into 2007, and in comes Ashby again to take the badge back to Calgary and give it to Kathy.
So it was presented to Kathy, and then I got to meet her husband.
Yeah,
Ross.
Yeah.
All right.
That was great. And Carolyn and I still had not met. And that's when we came to Oregon and we met up with Sandy and George, and they took us away for a few days, which was just wonderful. And
Then we got to meet.
Oh,
again,
4 years.
10 minutes turned into
Lifelong
lifetime.
friends. Lifelong friends.
Yeah.
and that's the story of Prue's
pin.
pin.
Yeah.